On one hand, you have the princess of the Fire Nation. She's a prodigy of the highest tier and a charismatic woman who practically brims with confidence. Then, on the other hand, you have the fan favorite Arthur Boyle. His sword is his pride, and his powers are rather knightly, and this has earned him the alias the Night King. While Arthur is a little full of himself, Azula is the type who wants you to fear her. Trust is not something she vibes with. As always, this video is going to be an introspection of these two characters, their backgrounds, innate nature, abilities, and where they would stack up against each other. I'm sure you already have your winner in your head, but I just want to hold on till the end of the video. Let's see if we may learn something new. Well then, grab some soda and relax. This is going to get very interesting. Starting from Azula, she was born in the royal family of the Fire Nation, and since the beginning, she had everything. Not just money, splendor, or privileges, but also extraordinary talent. She was hailed as a mutant prodigy and easily became her father's favorite child. The man acknowledged her as the true heir to the throne and treated her as such. He introduced her to the world of academics and politics, and you bet she herself was also ready to come into power. Her friends at the Royal Fire Academy were two girls who possessed their abilities that she herself didn't, so her inclination was to learn from them. Things were much more nuanced between her siblings though, especially with her brother Zuko, who was her mother's favorite. Then there is Arthur Boyle. Unlike our fire princess, he didn't come from an affluent or powerful family. No, he was the only son to a couple who managed a small restaurant. Things never got easier for them. In fact, as time continued to pass, their financial situation only got worse. At one particular instance, someone got food poisoning from eating their food, which then led to their restaurant getting completely burnt down. Well, this is Fire Force after all, but it doesn't end here. A television broadcast states bad things about their restaurant, which he finds unpleasant. That same night, his mother tells him to go and get his father for dinner, who was apparently napping with a hat over his face. Curious, he asks his father about the hat. What's so interesting about it? In reply, his father tells him that this hat has the powers to take you to a different world, the world of your imagination. Arthur uses it and imagines that they are living in a castle. His father is the king and his mother is the queen. Unfortunately, this was a fleeting lie. The next morning when he wakes up, he's unable to find his mom and dad. He soon comes across a letter by his parents that states that both left on a journey to save the world. And so, while they are gone, he can be the king of this castle. A bittersweet moment. Yes, he was abandoned. His parents bailed on him and ignored their debt. That's all there is to it. He goes to enroll into the Special Fire Force Training Academy, and then, eventually, gets himself a fire-resistant hilt for an Excalibur, which becomes his signature weapon. As you can see, both Azula and Arthur had very different childhoods. One was born in royalty and was applauded by everyone for her talents, while the other was born in poverty and was abandoned by his birth parents. Azula obviously has a narcissistic personality. She thinks she's better than everyone, and let's be honest guys, she is top tier. Arthur is a little like that in the sense that he can be over the top when communicating with other people, but that's just what he is like when he's just being casual. Azula is pragmatic, while Arthur is a fantasist. In both cases, their personalities make sense, especially Arthur's fantasist complex. He colors his life with fantasy, acts like a medieval knight, something he started doing as a way to cope with getting abandoned by his parents. Next, let's take a look at their abilities and see what they bring to the table as fellow firebenders. First, we have Azula. She has been acknowledged by others as a prodigy since she was just a child, and her growth further affirmed this idea. When she became a little older, she was even able to bend blue fire. That's right, blue flames. As far as the world of Avatar is concerned, she's the only known firebender to use blue flames. It's that rare. Plus, blue flames are also significantly hotter than red, yellow, or orange flames. She can be particularly creative with the way she uses her powers, and also has an exponentially easier time using her flames in comparison to other firebenders. She can condense, enlarge, and basically do whatever she wants with her flames. We're talking about 2 fingers bending, fireballs, fire blades, fire shields, and even jet propulsion. There is also what happened on the day of the Black Sun. It's an event that happens when the sun is blocked by the moon, and it simply renders all firebenders incapable of using their fire prowess. But despite losing her fire-bending abilities, she was still able to take on Aang, Toph, and Sokka all by herself, which is a testament to her combat intelligence and hand-to-hand combat skills. That's right, you need to be good enough for her to even need firebending against you. Her base stats and proficiency in using shuriken knives cannot be understated either. It's like this: as far as intelligence, firebending, and combat skills are concerned, this lady excels in it all. That's it for her. Next, how about we take a deep look into what Arthur Boyle has to offer? His growth in the series is astounding, simply phenomenal. You'll be amazed at what he eventually becomes capable of doing. For example, his final and strongest attack, named Violent Flash Earth Divider, does exactly what the name implies. The shot was able to split the world into 2 halves and was strong enough to snap Dragon, the leader of the Destroyers, in a mere instant. Dragon was no phony foe. He even mentioned that Arthur is the first person to ever make him shed blood. But then, when Arthur brings out this final attack, Dragon is instantly eliminated. It's super effective. Arthur's speed, strength, durability, and stamina are all maxed out. Plus, he possesses an indomitable will. He absolutely never gives up. He was able to survive in outer space without the space ring for a few minutes, and having an indomitable will also indicates that he has a strong will of fire. Back in the academy, he was stated to have the strongest firepower among all the students. Yes, Azula can conjure blue flames, but Arthur can take things even further beyond by controlling plasma. By conjuring plasma, and thanks to the excess oxygen in his body, Arthur was able to go up against the strongest officer, Benimaru, for several hours. The thing about Arthur is that he takes fanaticism to a whole new level. When he is seeing himself as this medieval fantasy knight, he becomes so strong it sometimes doesn't even make sense. And as a 3rd-generation pyrokinetic user, he's also able to tap into his hysterical strength. The hysterical strength is more akin to a state than a technique. It allows one to unleash 100% of their ignition ability instead of the usual 30%. Not everyone can use it, but those who can are able to take the temperature of their flames to an inconceivable level. His instincts are also rather polished, but considering how much he fantasizes, he sometimes mistakes fantasy for reality. Still, the man worked hard and trained himself so that he doesn't mistake an illusion as reality. Going back to the time when he was in Benimaru's hand, Arthur learned something called the Press of Death. It's the technique that allowed him to later achieve hysterical strength, because the Press of Death is about existing at the verge of death. It's about pushing your body to the utmost limits, so much so that you are quite literally looking death in the face. This then brings us to an evolved variation of the Press of Death called Steeled for Death. If the Press of Death is about acknowledging death, this is about realizing and accepting the fact that if one uses their strongest attack, they are going to die. This notion allowed Arthur to surpass the conceivable and split the earth into 2 halves, along with Dragon. Now, splitting the world is an extraordinary feat. It takes power scaling to a new level. Plus, when you consider the use of plasma, innate abilities, the nature of the world building, it becomes exceedingly clear that one of these firebenders has an edge over the other. But I still want my precious viewers to spell it out for me. Between Azula from Avatar and Arthur from Fire Force, who do you think would win? Remember, there is no reason for the answer to be logical. You're welcome to bring your own arguments, even blow things out of proportion. Just go wild in the comment section with your thoughts and ideas. I'm excited to read them. As always, like and subscribe to the channel for free cookies. Share this video with your friends. See what they have to say. Well then, with that said, I'll see you guys on my next video.